friends, I know it's been a little while since I've been on here, since May specifically, but there's been a lot of exciting changes going on in my life that I can't wait to share with you guys, and hopefully I'll make a little story time video with maybe a little time lapse of a nail design or something like that. But first and foremost, I wanted to go ahead and make this video. It's been on my mind for a while as I've been seeing a lot of nail trends going around, and specifically this one I've had a little bit of experience with myself, and so I feel like it's my duty to talk about it and spread a little bit of awareness on the fact that it can be a little dangerous, and I just want to do a little educating today. Hopefully I don't get any hate for this one, but without further ado, let's get into it. So I do want to preface this video by saying I am obviously not a doctor and I'm not a chemist, but I do have some experience with airbrushes. I did airbrush for a couple years on larger projects with water-based acrylic paints, which is a little different than what I've been seeing in the nail industry lately, but it's still kind of the same general rule of thumb when it comes to airbrushing. I want to say too that in this video, at no point am I telling you not to use an airbrush or that you can't use an airbrush. Obviously, we are all our own artists and you get to choose what method and type of medium that you're using regardless. I just hope that you will listen all the way through and spread this message with others so that they can stay safe as well. So if you're new here to my channel, welcome. Thank you for joining in and you have no clue what I'm talking about, or if you're new to the nail industry and you just have no idea, or if you're using an airbrush already or you're thinking about using it, I'm going to explain what this trend is. So basically, an airbrush is a machine that you put paint into and press a little button and it sprays out. So essentially people are mixing gel and acetone inside of an airbrush and spraying it onto a nail to achieve a specific look for a nail trend that's been going around for a while. Now, it's been a massively growing trend with nail techs, big companies, DIYers, luxury press-on artists, because it is known to be the easier option to achieving an ombre or an aura nail design look like this. And simply, I just disagree, and I'm gonna explain all of that here in this video because there's just a lot of misinformation going around that I just hopefully I'm able to clear up. So if you are not familiar with gel allergies or contact dermatitis, which is caused by a lot of these nail products that you're using, I'm going to explain it real quick for you. So essentially, contact dermatitis can come from a lot of different things. It's not specifically nail products, but nail products can cause contact dermatitis, which is a lifelong allergy, and it's painful and it is never going to go away. And it's not to say that you can't ever use these products. You definitely can. People use them all the time. You just want to make sure that you're being so safe about it and using proper PPE when using these products. So wearing gloves with the correct thickness and making sure that you're cleaning everything and wiping everything down is super, super important anytime that you're using gel products or acrylic. And I only use gel currently. I don't use any acrylic products just yet, but all of that can cause contact dermatitis due to some of the ingredients that are in these products. And essentially it's just caused by overexposure over time of getting these products on your skin, not cleaning them off, and then it results in an allergy. Unfortunately, I know so many people in the nail industry who suffer from contact dermatitis due to overexposure or just not being educated enough early on and starting to use these products. It's just super important to educate ourselves when using these products. And unfortunately, when you have contact dermatitis, like I said, it's lifelong, it's painful, I've heard from friends of mine who have it that it has taken them weeks or months to get rid of a flare-up. They're still able to do nails, but they have to be really careful. With all that information, you can probably understand it's a no-brainer why it's dangerous to be putting gel into an airbrush and spraying it out into the open air for you or anyone else in your household to be breathing in. And as I've been seeing for months now, a plethora of just misinformation coming from a lot of these nail influencers that you might follow, or these huge nail companies that are actually selling these airbrushes or these pre-mixed gels that or paints that are essentially safer than, like a safer alternative to using gel. And it's really just a big money grab, and they aren't going to tell you the truth because they're selling these products. Spreading this message is not fear mongering, it's not drama, it's not hate, it's simply just spreading awareness on this specific method to help keep people safe. And because not a lot of people are telling you that it's unsafe, that's another reason that we have to talk about it, because just because there's a million people and it's growing doesn't mean that it's safe. There's a lot of people that are simply not even wearing the most basic PPE, like gloves, to protect their skin from overexposure to these chemicals, let alone putting it into an airbrush. So to get down to the really nitty-gritty facts that I want to share with you guys, let's get into it. So I want to start out simply by stating that, first of all, the most popular method of using these airbrushes is doing a ratio with gel and acetone, mixing that and then spraying it through their airbrush. And I can tell you right now that's so unsafe for a million reasons. So not only did we just talk about the fact that gel is super common in causing contact dermatitis with allergies, you're now putting that into an airbrush, spraying it out into your area, breathing it in, and I can't even imagine what that kind of allergy would do inside your lungs. This product has to cure, so there's no way, and it's the uncured product being on your skin that normally causes the contact dermatitis. So imagine that inside your lungs. I don't even know what that could do. Personally, I wouldn't want to find out. It's just risky. And to add on to that, not only is the gel unsafe, but so is spraying acetone through your airbrush, because not only is that getting up in the air, you're also breathing that, and you just really don't want to be breathing that either. But also, acetone is a highly combustible chemical, so when you're spraying that through an airbrush with all those particles being in the air, if your space does end up combusting, your insurance won't cover it. So you're going to be liable for paying for all of the damages that might cause. So along with that, I've seen a lot of questions circulating in comment sections under videos of people using airbrushes, or just people saying that it's unsafe, and people are asking, is it safe to use pre-mixed paints or the acrylic paints that they sell on Amazon? And a lot of people are saying those are better alternatives to gel, and the answer to that is yes and no. Yes, technically acrylic is probably not going to cause you contact dermatitis. However, it doesn't matter what medium you're putting into an airbrush. You're still risking breathing it in, and you don't want any kind of paint in your nose, in your throat, in your lungs. It's just could cause respiratory or health issues later down the road. I also want to remind you guys too, if you're not aware, airbrushes were never meant or designed to be used in an enclosed area, and when using one, you really need to have a really, really well ventilated area. I also want to debunk something that I've seen a lot as well, and that is people just saying, well, just protect yourself, put on a paper COVID mask, and I can tell you right now, that is not going to help protect you at all. A COVID mask is not going to wrap around your face well enough to keep all of those gel or paint particles out from you breathing it in. You would need something a lot heavier duty than that. Back when I was using an airbrush, I would be wearing a heavy-duty painter's mask, gloves, goggles. I also had a cardboard box that I had made specifically for my airbrush to be in, because again, you want to keep it in a ventilated, but you want to keep the airbrush kind of enclosed, if not in an enclosed area, but the airbrush needs to be enclosed so that it's not getting everywhere. And I can tell you looking back that not even that box was going to be good enough to protect me from that, because the entire box was probably 2 feet by 2 feet maybe, that I had kind of constructed myself, and the entire thing was covered, every side top to bottom was covered in paint. So it really just sprays and goes everywhere. So I also want you guys to consider too that if you are using gel to spray through your airbrushes, that another reason that it's just super unsafe is, again, going back to the fact that when you're using the airbrush, it is whatever has to go up has to come down. So if you're using gel, a product that has to be cured with a UV light, you're probably going to have a thin layer or sheen over every bit of your workspace when using an airbrush, which means you're probably not even going to know that it's there because it's going to be such a thin layer, and you're probably going to touch it, and then once you touch it, you're risking overexposure, and overexposure, we know, leads to contact dermatitis. It's just so risky. To create an even remotely safe space to be airbrushing inside your home, it would cost you a small fortune, and I want to just go ahead and break that down for you so you kind of have an idea of what that would cost you just to have an airbrush system set up for yourself to safely use. So for starters, you'll need a good ventilation system, as well as the airbrush itself, the paints that you're going to be using, and then probably a heavier duty PPE, painter's mask, goggles, gloves, you know, all of that. And that's not even to mention the setup that you'll need to kind of have just for your airbrush to make sure all that product doesn't go all over the place onto your workspace and everywhere else. All I'm saying is you need to ask yourself, is it worth it to spend all of that money and spend all that time getting all that set up and putting yourself and your pets and your family members at risk just for a nail trend? I don't know. And a couple of other things I want to talk about and mention is the fact that airbrushes are so hard to clean out. They are genuinely such a pain, and it's time consuming. You're gonna have issues where it will also get clogged. That doesn't even include cleaning it out every single time. And that you'll have to do that for every color. But like I said, when I was airbrushing, it would get clogged so easily, it wouldn't even spray out. So you're gonna spend all that money on a machine that gets clogged really easily, and that was with me using paints that were meant to be sprayed through an airbrush. They were literally made for it, and it still clogged the machine, and I did my best to keep it clean at all times. Another thing that's super concerning to me that I've seen a lot is there's been so many videos of licensed nail techs using airbrushes on in-person clients, and I'm assuming those clients don't know anything about airbrushing or how dangerous this method is, and I just really think that we need to be educating on that too, that we shouldn't be working on these clients with airbrushes without their consent or without them knowing the possible risks of it as well. We're putting them intentionally in danger and not telling them, and that, I feel like that's a huge problem. If I was a customer, I would be pissed if I didn't know what you were using on me, and that it could literally be life-threatening and cause me a lifelong allergy, but that's just me. So you're probably wondering, well, Lindsay, if I can't use an airbrush, what can I use to achieve the same look? And can I even get the same look without an airbrush? And the answer is absolutely yes. I have been able to achieve the airbrushed look without an airbrush for a long time now, and all you need is a simple eyeshadow or pigment palette. This one I'm linking in the description. It is my favorite. It's so simple. It's like $8 on Amazon. And wouldn't you rather spend $8 on Amazon than spend that much on an airbrush? Yeah, me too. And you get the same look. I did a live stream where I made an airbrushed look. I don't even know if you can hear him on there. And honestly, guys, you can use any cheap eyeshadow palette. You can use any eyeshadow palette, quite literally. I would recommend definitely don't probably use one that you use on yourself, just because you're going to be dipping your brushes in that eyeshadow palette and you don't want, and putting it on nails where there's nail product, you definitely don't want to use those same brushes or that same pigment on you, just in case there's any possibility of uncured gel that you don't know about. So make sure you have one dedicated just to your nails, including brushes, to keep everything sanitized and clean, and keep yourself safe. You can also use sponges to dab on gel instead, but that will take a lot longer. But these methods are a lot easier because you don't have to worry about cleaning out an airbrush or dealing with it getting clogged, and you can just go to town on your nail art. But yeah, those are going to be your options outside of an airbrush. I'm sure there's some other hacks similar out there, but pigment powder is going to be ultimately the best, and I literally love it. It's my favorite. It's been a lifesaver for achieving these looks, and trust me, girls, I hate doing ombres. Gel ombres are the worst. So this has been literally a lifesaver, so I would totally recommend it instead of using an airbrush. So to go ahead and end this video, I wanted to just put it out there that this was never intended to rile up the community or cause any drama or hate on anyone. I just really wanted to put this message out there because I think it is super important to be talking about, especially right now when it's blowing up and there's a lot of misinformation going on. I am only saying all this with the intention of hoping to keep other people safe who don't know any better or just haven't been educated and are being influenced by these big companies or these nail influencers. And there just have been so many countless nail trends that have circulated through the nail industry in the last couple of years that have been so dangerous. Remember when people were buying drugstore press-ons and they were using gel X glue to adhere these press-ons, claiming that it was going to last longer, and then trying to cure it in a UV light, and the UV light can't penetrate through a painted nail, so the gel was staying uncured on these people's hands and causing them contact dermatitis, and that trend died really quickly because it was causing issues. Or when, the trend went around with people using floss to rip off their nail enhancements, claiming that it was going to help them remove them easier. In reality, they were causing a lot of damage to their nails. This is no different from all of those times. So I just want to put that out there so that people are aware of what is going on and what is circulating. I also want to remind you again, I'm not saying that you can't use an airbrush, I'm just saying you probably shouldn't, but ultimately that decision is up to you. And I also just want you to be aware of the risks if you were not aware already. I'm not even asking you to blindly believe me either. In fact, I totally understand if you wouldn't want to. And I actually really encourage you to do your own research on things like this. So I also have linked a video to a known chemist that is, in the nail industry, and he's known, and he actually made a video recently about all of these things that are going on with airbrushing and talking specifically, and I quote, he said, "This is probably one of the most dangerous trends going on in the nail industry right now." And so I wanted to go ahead and link that below so you have a chance to see it as well from a true professional. I just want you to know all of this before blindly following everyone down the rabbit hole on a new nail trend. The choice is ultimately yours, and all I ask is that you share this video with others so that they have the same choice as well and know what's going on. But thank you for watching. I really appreciate it, and I hope this video was helpful to you. If it was, please go ahead and like and share this with other people. But anyway, you guys have a good one, and I will catch you guys in the next one. See you later.